All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is going on, YouTube friends? It's back. We're back with the Witching Hour Show, Friday edition. And got myself, I got Hamwich ready to bring you these winners. But before we do, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you are joining us. We appreciate it a ton. Keeps all of our shows over here at SHIPIT Nation, which we do no longer have any premium shows. They have all gone to free right here on this channel. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so you do not miss any of those shows. We're going to give you the winners. Before I bring my guy Ham in, have to run a little promo here, and it's shouting out our guys over at Drafters. We're partnered. These shows are sponsored by Drafters, our partner over there. Use code SHIPIT. Gets you a 100% deposit bonus all the way up to $100. That is better than their standard promo, and the only way to get that is with our promo code SHIPIT. Jump into the best ball streets, get some free entries there on Drafters. Hopefully take that 300K and take down the reigning champion, Mr. Title Crown himself, Titletown over here on the SHIPIT Nation team. Him and Marley do best ball shows once a week. Jump in there. You can do live drafts with them. We have the ADP rankings. We have everything over here. So we definitely appreciate our guys and our partners over at Drafters. But this is an MLB show. It's a Friday. Hamwich had to jump to the fridge over there, grab a nice ice cold beer. I'll bring him in. Hamwich, how are we doing today on this Friday?
Oh man, doing great. It's Friday, right? It's an 11-game slate. Should be good. Got my Braves shirt on. I'm ready to rock and roll. Honoring G Rising with my Modelo over here, about to crack open. And man, Nate, we've been locked in. We're gonna give the folks some winners. We're gonna get the dong calls. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button, and let's ship it tonight. I feel it. Got a great feeling.
Yeah, I got a great feeling as well. Got to say hi to a couple of people in chat. We got our guy Richie Smalls always in here. Jax, what's going on, Jax? Brian Englund in the chat. Hashtag ship it. We love to see that. Brian, Mike Carr in the house. Corey Pooler, fresh off the wedding in here. Love that. And everyone else tuning in. Toga, my guy Toga in there. I appreciate those kind words, Toga. We're going to try and bring you the winners. We're going to do how we always do. It's a Friday. We're going to start with pitching. We're going to go 8,500 and up. Just because there's only two guys in the 8K range. I'll go Freddie Peralta all the way up to Ohtani, and three guys at the top kind of standing out in terms of ownership. There is two guys on the slate that are down cheaper that are going to get some pretty heavy ownership from an ownership standpoint, but the three guys at the top, the three aces on the mound, definitely is going to be a talking point of tonight. That's Mr. Ohtani, Showtime himself, Framber Valdez, and then Joe Ryan. You got Senga in there, you got Bryce Miller, and then Freddie Peralta. How much, where are you going in this range? Hit on those top three in particular for sure. I mean, 10-6, 10-8, and 11K, $200 separating each of those guys, which I'm seeing about 40% ownership on Framber, about 35 to 40% on Ohtani, and then, I don't know, 20 to 25% on Joe Ryan. Where are you going in that range? And then any of these other lower owned guys at the top for you?
Yeah, I think this is a great range, Nate, and these are some great pitchers, right? Some great real-life pitchers, great DFS pitchers, and I think these three at the top, it's going to be tough to jam both of them in. You can make a case for any of them. I mean, Valdez gets Oakland in that park. You got to like that. Joe Ryan facing these Chicago White Sox, who we've been picking on. But for me, out of that top three, it's got to be Showtime, as you refer to him, Shohei Ohtani. Man, he's looked phenomenal. He's striking out 30% of right-handed and left-handed batters over the last 30 days. This Pirates team is striking out. Let me just get the confirmation. I was looking at it earlier. They're striking out. What are they striking out on our sheet, Nades?
25% on the road this season against right.
25% against the road. I mean, so out of these three, it's Shohei. It's Shohei all day for me. I just built a team on the 121 single entry team, and Shohei was my SP1 in that range. And then the other pitcher that I really like in this range is going to be Bryce Miller for these Mariners at home, playing a Blue Jays team that gets out on the road. He's striking out 33% of right-handed batters over the last 30 days, and these Blue Jays are rolling out six righties in their lineup today. So I don't think a lot of people are going to play Bryce Miller today, but I really like Bryce Miller as an SP2 on this slate in that range. He's going to go overlooked. So for me in that range, Shohei Ohtani, Bryce Miller, and then even your boy, Freddie Peralta. I know they're playing the Braves, but check this out. 46% right-handed hitters over the last 30 days against these Braves team, 5 in the confirmed lineup. They don't strike out a whole ton, but, man, I think in a GPP you got to love Freddie Peralta. But for me, for my money, it's Shohei, Bryce Miller in this range, and you can even make a case for Senga, who I didn't even talk on. But if you want to talk on any of those, go ahead. But those are my top 2.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. A little bit different than myself, but that's good. We don't always like to be aligned on the same page, and we bring different viewpoints. Great point that you bring up on Bryce Miller. I do like that a little bit. I mean, that dude is going to be sub 5% ownership on this slate at $9,100. And I just pitched a couple of these Padres pitcher, Yu Darvish, Blake Snell against these same Blue Jays. Yu Darvish went out there at 7% the other night. Absolutely shoved in everyone's face. That faded him against Toronto. I said it was going to happen, caught him on the site. So I do like that Bryce Miller call. I'm not afraid of these Blue Jays, especially in a pitcher's park there in Seattle. I think that is a nice call. But for me, yeah, I'm locked arm in arm with you. Showtime's number 1 for me. I mean, his strikeout upside is just absolutely absurd. This Pittsburgh team, I get it, right? They were the all-star team about a month and a half ago. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, these Pirates are incredible, right? They're going crazy." And then they went the little gif, right, where the train's driving right off the side of the cliff and fell off, came back to earth. I mean, your leadoff batter, I get it. He's got a ton of power. Jack Sawinski against right-handed pitching, he still strikes out at a 33% clip as your leadoff batter. I mean, the two guys, there's a couple guys at the bottom that I've never even heard of before in my life. This Jared kid strikes out at a 32% clip. Nick Gonzalez strikes out at a 30% clip. So I do think the strikeout upside's there. And I think the Angels can get to Oviedo here as well. So nice little cushion there. Hopefully Ohtani should be in line for the win because he can also do it himself, help himself out there on the mound. And that guy can always go long. So I do like Ohtani at the top, all the way up. I don't really care the ownership. It's a matchup play for me. It's a bet on his talent. And, hey, who knows? Maybe this is his last time in an Angels uniform, as there has been rumors that the Angels are open to trading this guy, which who wouldn't be with how much you can get back in return for one player with his caliber. So I like Ohtani quite a bit. Number 2 in this range for me is actually going to be the guy right below him, Framber. I get it, right? It's Oakland. Oakland has poked holes in some pitchers, but Framber, ground ball pitcher, I think he can just go out there and manage. I mean, he's got a 27% K rate on the season. Oakland at home strikes out at a 28% clip against left-handed pitching. Not really guys in here outside of J.J. Bleday and Brent Rooker really that scare me in terms of power. I mean, up and down this lineup, I think he can go out there. So I do like him. And then I also have interest in Joe Ryan as well. The matchup for these White Sox is just elite. Joe Ryan, right? I forgot who they were playing Hamwich when he was chalky just this past week and let us down. It was Seattle, wasn't it? He played Seattle, had a stinker. You're on mute.
It was Oakland.
It was Oakland? Okay,
yeah.
Yeah, I knew he was pretty chalky. I don't care. Going right back to the well, a little bit of flop leg there. I mean, this White Sox team, I'm just not as scared. I mean, your 2 through 6 hitters all strike out at a 25% clip or higher in this confirmed lineup. It is decent weather, I think, in Minnesota from what I checked, but not really. I mean, some slight wind blowing in. About 80 degrees. So, I mean, pretty neutral at this time of year across the country. I mean, it's warm everywhere for the most part, not any crazy wind blowing out in Minnesota there. But Joe Ryan, I mean, expected ERA under 3, strikeout rate of 29%, barrel rate under 7. I think he can go out there. So if I had to rank this range, Showtime number 1 for me. Joe Ryan's actually going to be number 2 at the discounted ownership off of Framber. Framber would be number 3. And then if I had to grab a third, or a fourth, I mean, it would be Bryce Miller. Don't really have any interest in Senga or Peralta. I just don't see the need. Even though Peralta can have upside, I don't see the need to pick on the Braves on an 11-game slate when there's other guys up, especially up in this range, that do have better matchups overall for me. That hits on the top range.
Hey, real quick. Yeah, just real quick on Joe Ryan, Nades, and for anybody else out there. My concern about him, he's a distant third for me. And the reason is hasn't gone more than 6 innings in his last 4 starts, hasn't thrown more than 100 pitches in his last 4 starts. He does have that K upside, but I just get worried if he struggles a little bit. I don't know if that leash is a little shorter. So for me, that's why I would rank him third out of that top 3. Pretty distant, but definitely to your point, does have that upside. White Sox stink, and so I could see the play, but for me, he's number 3.
Yeah, no, very good point. That's a good ad. I don't think you can go wrong with any of those 3. Ideally, play 2 of the 3 on your team if you can afford it. There is some guys down here in the cheaper tier that we'll hit on that are kind of getting some ownership, and it starts right in that same Chicago-Minnesota game with Lance Lynn. So let's jump into this next range. We got Ranger Suarez. Take him all the way. We might as well just hit on the rest of the pitchers on this slate, all the way down, 8K and below. You got Clark Schmidt, who's getting a heavy chunk of ownership against Kansas City. Obviously, we like picking on Kansas City. Clark Schmidt's been showing some upside this season. I'm seeing 30 to 40% ownership on Clark Schmidt, but the reason is he's just 6,200, allows you to do a lot with your roster. Lance Lynn, the other guy, going to get ownership below 8K. Really nobody else that I'm seeing getting a ton of ownership. So hit on anyone that you like down here that is a little bit lower owned. Obviously, you got Oviedo, you got Alex Wood, JP Sears, who we played this year, Gavin Williams, a big strikeout arm against those Phillies, who we just targeted with Corbin Burns. Any interest in this lower tier, and specifically Lance Lynn and Clark Schmidt?
Yeah, let me just touch on it, Nades, and then you can kind of fill in anything that I missed. But you know my boy Yasiel Kikuchi. I always have an affinity for him, going home to his old ballpark. I guess to face his old mates. So I have a little bit of interest in him. I know us over the metrics at SHIPIT Nation don't like him too well, but these Mariners, they just strike out so much, and Kikuchi striking out 24% of right-handed hitters. So a teeny tiny bit of interest in him. And the really only other pitcher that I have down in this range is going to be a guy that I'm afraid might get steamed up a little bit too much, and that is Clark Schmidt, who has been absolutely dynamite over his last 2 starts. He pitched on All-Star Sunday in a pitched inning, but over 20 DK points on his last 2 starts. He's striking out 30% of right-handed hitters that he's facing, and this Royals lineup has 5 confirmed righties in the lineup. And then when you look at the lefties in the lineup, MJ Melendez, 32% strikeout rate. Michael Massey, 31% strikeout rate. Nick Prado, 48% strikeout rate. And Drew Waters, 45% strikeout rate. So everybody in this lineup is either a righty or has over a 30% strikeout rate. And Clark Schmidt, man, for that price, $6,200, I think you got to have interest in him, especially if you want any type of expensive stack. I mean, Clark Schmidt, really great play today, even on both sites, DraftKings and or FanDuel. I really do like him today.
Yeah, I love Clark Schmidt as well. I think it's more of a chalky build for me tonight on pitcher side. That's where I think I'm going to differentiate a little bit in some of these offense, because I do like the guys at the top, Framber, Showtime, and then I do like Clark Schmidt quite a bit down here. I mean, I just think he's too cheap for this matchup, to be honest with you. Kansas City, ton of strikeouts there. He has been good. So I like Clark Schmidt a lot down here. I do think Lance Lynn also I like quite a bit here. This Minnesota team, I'm just not afraid of this Minnesota team. Overall, I mean, I get it. They started hitting some home runs there in Seattle for a little bit. Now they head back home in Minnesota. But Lance Lynn, 28% strikeout rate on the season. I get it, right? He gets barreled. He doesn't have the greatest expected ERA numbers, but this Twins team, 27% K rate at home on the season against right-handed pitching. I just think Lance Lynn with the strikeout upside at 7,600, I'll take my chances there, even if he does give up a couple of runs. The Twins typically don't blow the doors off teams too much. So give me some Lance Lynn there. He's going to get ownership, but I don't really care. So I like him as well. And then my third guy in this range is actually going to be in that Milwaukee game. It's going to be Michael Soroka. I get it, right? Last game, he just got shelled by Chicago White Sox. It was a very, very good weather game, if I'm not mistaken, in that game with the Braves and the White Sox. But I just think, I mean, the dude had very good performances, right around 100 pitches the 2 games before that. Now against this Brewers team, who I'm not afraid of, obviously my hometown Brewers, but 25% K rate against right-handed pitching. Soroka over the last 30 days has been striking out 23% of his hitters, which is up from his kind of overall numbers. So at 6,900, I'm not seeing a ton of ownership at all go to him. So I do like him as a lower owned option in this cheap tier against those Brewers. And especially if those Atlanta bats can hit a couple of bombs off of Freddie, wait on that fastball. Maybe he's in line for the win as well, because I do think the Braves are a pretty decent favorite here. So I like him. Rank this. Give me your top 4 pitchers on this slate, and then we'll go game by game. You're on mute.
Yeah, let me look at so number 1 for me would be Shohei, would be number 1. I would go Bryce Miller number 2, Framber Valdez number 3, and Clark Schmidt would be number 4 for me.
Yeah, I like that. Hitting on King of Smacks question in the chat. It is a good K upside matchup for Jake Irvin. I mean, this lineup that they rolled out is the second best strikeout matchup on the slate for starting pitchers. I don't know if I can play Jake Irvin on a massive slate with his sub 16% strikeout rate on the season. I get it is the Giants, right? But Giants implied to score over 5 runs in the Nationals Park. I'm pretty sure it's pretty solid weather over there in Washington as well. And this lineup for the Giants, I mean, Wilmer Flores, guys like that are on fire. You're striking out under 16%. I just think there's better spots, but hey, 5,400 unowned on a big slate. If you have a gut call like that, go with it. Personally, I can't do it, but I'll rank my pitchers. I got Ohtani number 1. I just think he's got the most upside on the slate with his strikeouts and the matchup, all things considered. I don't care that he's 11K. We just seen what Spencer Strider did, and Spencer Strider was what, 12.8, something like that. Obviously on a little bit of a smaller slate, but 11K, nice fair price tag. I'm gonna go Clark Schmidt. Number 2 for me. I just think the salary is too cheap for the matchup. I like him quite a bit. I'll go Lance Lynn number 3, and then I'm gonna go Joe Ryan number 4 as a pivot off the top. Pretty chalky pitching for me tonight, but it's just hard to argue these matchups. And sometimes if I'm gonna eat a chalk, I'd much rather eat chalk at pitcher. Much like Title talks about all the time. So that's going to do it for pitching. About 20 minutes or so breaking down pitching. Obviously, there's 22 pitchers on the slate. You can play other guys, but those are the guys that we have the most interest in. Again, if you guys are new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're making a push to 3,000 subscribers. Going to continue running giveaways. Our goal is to get to 5,000, which it's a strong goal to get to 5,000 before NFL. If we do, we will have a crazy giveaway, but hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you haven't already. About 130 in here right now. Let's try and make a push to 120 likes as more people do trickle in here. We'll give away our top 2 ranked pitchers, our top 2 ranked hitters, as always, on a proprietary ranking system over here. So definitely help us out a ton and do that. Let's jump in game by game. We're going to start it off with Kansas City heading into Yankee Stadium there. And face Clark Schmidt. I think pretty easy cross-off spot for me on the Royals, but again, it is Clark Schmidt. He is going to get a lot of ownership on the slate. Do you think about any sort of leverage stack on the Royals, and then any of these Yankees for you at home here against Alec Marsh?
Yeah, no interest for the Royals for me. I mean, I think Clark Schmidt is a smash play, especially at 6,200. He will garner some ownership, but I think it's going to be good chalk to eat. And then on the Yankee side, I do have some interest in these right-handed bats, specifically speaking. Obviously, the usual suspects, Gleyber Torres, Giancarlo Stanton would be the 2 I have interest in, but I will not be stacking the Yankees. Would just go to Giancarlo or Gleyber if I needed a one-off in a 4-3-1 build.
Yeah, I don't mind a couple guys at the bottom. Billy McKinley, Kyle Higashioka down there at the catcher. Nice little mini stack, 2,100, 27. You could wrap it around to the top. Throw in your guys Stanton, Torres in there if you want to stack it up. It is decent hitting weather in Yankee Stadium, 75 degrees, slight wind blowing out. Pretty much going to be 75, upper 70s the entire duration of that game tonight here. pretty humid as well. So I do think it's pretty solid hitting weather. Kansas City bullpen isn't that great. Alec Marsh, he does have a lot of strikeout with his limited sample on the year, but he does get barreled at a 14% clip, which I think is the worst on the slate. So I do think these Yankees make some sense. Personally, I would like it more as one-offs and mini stacks. I just don't feel like stacking up this 5-man Yankee stack with some of these guys in this lineup. But don't sleep on Billy McKinley, Kyle Higashioka down there in the 8 and 9 hole at the catcher position and outfield spot. So I like those two guys. No Rose for me on this slate. I do like Clark Schmidt quite a bit, even at his ownership. Next game on the slate, we have the Giants heading into Washington here in Nationals Park. Pull up the weather. It's about mid-80s. Slight wind blowing across from left field. It's our guy Jake Irvin, King of Smat. Likes Jake Irvin a little bit here against these Giants, but these Giants do have some power against right-handed pitching. Do you like any of these Giants? Pretty healthy implied run total, sitting at 5.2. Nationals on the other side, 4.4, facing Alec Wood, the lefty. Any interest in C.J. Abrams, who dude has absolutely been locked in? Any of these other guys, Jimmy Candelario has been hitting bombs there at third base, and these Nationals remain pretty cheap.
Yeah, interesting game, Nades, and this Giants team. I'm kind of torn, and we'll go a couple hours, but I do have some interest in these Giants, and the reason I'm torn is because just they pitch hit so much, and you just hate that when you get pitch hit for in the 4th or 5th inning. But man, Jake Irvin, like you said earlier, cannot strike anybody out. These Giants have some pop in their lineup. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but Jock Jams, Jock Peterson, Flores has been doing really well. Michael Conforto. So these lefties I would focus on. I really like these lefties tonight. I mean, up and down the lineup, they all have an expected ISO of 200. I feel like even the top 6 anyway. So I don't mind anybody in the top 6 on the Giants side. We'll see if we get there as a full stack. And then on the other side, Alex Cobb really struggles. He's a reverse splits guy, really struggles with righties. So the only righty that I have any interest in, or the only player I have any interest in on the National side is Lane Thomas. Really like him as a one-off playing Alex Cobb. I think he does some damage. Obviously has power, obviously has speed. And, if you ever see my cores, watch my videos, I love a power speed combo. And Lane Thomas certainly has that for the Nats.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. I think the Giants are playable as a mini stack. Wilmer Flores, Yastrzemski, Jock Jams would be my favorite. Those guys at the top there. Patrick Bailey isn't the worst catcher position, has some power there. Blake Sable, some of those guys. But there is a lot of strikeouts that come with this Giants team, along with the pinch hit risk on a big slate. I think there's better spots to target. So not one of my favorite spots. And then on the Nationals, will always bring up C.J. Abrams. I don't care. It's lefty. Even if the dude gets walked, he's going to steal second. He just runs wild out there. Don't hate that. And you could even do a little mini stack there, 1-2 with your guy Lane Thomas, who does smash left-handed pitching. So don't mind that. But overall, not a ton of interest from the bats side of this game for me. Next game on the slate, we have Fenway. We have the Mets heading into Fenway here, just pulling up the weather. About 70 degrees, dropping down into the 60s. So not the greatest hitting environment, wind blowing across the field. But it's Senga who can get wild at times with walks on this slate. And you start getting behind some of these Red Sox guys like Yoshida, Justin Turner, Rafael Devers. That could get crazy. Cutter Crawford, we've played this guy quite a bit this season. Now gets these Mets. Overall, neither of these teams strike out a lot. Do you have any interest in the bats here in not the greatest hitting weather, but pretty good hitter park in Fenway?
Yeah, you're right. We love targeting these Bo Sox at home when they get the monster and get that small field. And we didn't really touch on Senga as a pitcher, but man, he's striking out 34% of both sides. I mean, I guess the reason why I didn't like him is these Red Sox just don't strike out much. And you get them at home, I think they're a little bit more dangerous. And so I don't have any interest in Senga, but on the flip side, no real interest in these Bo Sox either. I'm looking at like a 4-3, 3-2 type of game, and I just don't think I'm going to need it on an 11-game slate to take it. So no Bo Sox for me. And then I'm going to dive a little deeper. I mean, the SHIPIT Nation folks, they're not real fans of Cutter Crawford experience today, and I've sworn off these Mets all season. Just I can never get them right. So the only one that I think I have interest in is Pete Alonso. He just smashes the pitches that Cutter throws. So if I were going to go to the Mets, I think it's just a one-off Pete Alonso and not a full stack. What about you, Nate?
Yeah, no, that's a good call out. I don't have a ton of interest. I will bring up Francisco Alvarez at the catcher position, 3,900, hitting sixth. I think he's always got power, obviously, and that's what you're looking for at the catcher. Nice little sub 4K price point there at the catcher position. I think that makes some sense. You can pair him with Pete Alonso, a little 4-6 mini stack if you want to. Francisco Lindor at the shortstop if you want a 3-man stack. I don't hate that, but not a ton of interest overall in the Mets. I do prefer the Mets side of this game more than the Red Sox. I don't like Senga a ton at the price point up in that range. I like the other pitchers better, especially with his walk concerns, but he does have upside with his strikeout rate, which has been absurd. Overall, I just don't think these Red Sox strike out a ton here. So not a ton of interest in the Red Sox. The Mets side, more mini stacks for me personally. Sure, you can always play a guy like Rafael Devers, Adam Duvall, but not a ton of interest personally for me. Not the greatest hitting weather on the slate. Next game on the slate, hitting on Butthole Jenkins' question real quick in the chat. Any love for Lance Lynn? Yeah, I have a lot of love for Lance Lynn. Not really the revenge narrative. It's just the matchup overall. I mean, he gets the Twins. We know the Twins, right? Tons of strikeouts there. Lance Lynn has a good strikeout rate, and you're really just worried about him getting barreled up and issues with some fly balls and stuff like that. And I think he can manage that and post a good score. He is going to get some ownership, but it doesn't really matter. His price tag's too cheap, I think, for his K upside in the matchup. So do like him quite a bit. I think Hamwich was aligned as well a little bit with Lance Lynn. Next game on the slate, we have the Phillies heading into Cleveland to face the Guardians. Pull up the weather here. Typically, I don't play either of these teams too much, but it is Ranger Suarez on the mound for the Phillies, who has right around a 22 below league average strikeout rate, I'll say. It is these Cleveland Guardians who typically we don't play Hamwich on full slates. Not the greatest total here. Gavin Williams on the mound, Ranger Suarez. I think it's a pretty easy cross-off spot. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you, Nades. It's no stack for certain, right? These pitchers, neither one of them are fancy, but similar to that last, the Boston side. I'm not interested in the pitcher, nor am I interested in the offense. We always talk about it. If the Guardians could beat us on an 11-game slate, you just tip your cap and move on to the next day. And I have a little bit of faith in Gavin Williams. I think he's going to be good one day. And so no real interest in the Phillies. I mean, obviously you can always play Jose Ramirez, Kyle Schwarber if you wanted to with that power leading off for the Phillies, but no game stack or minis for me in this game.
Yeah, I'm also seeing mid-70s, 75 to dropping in the 60s by the end of the game, and double-digit wind blowing straight in from center. So not the best hitting conditions either. So pretty easy stay-away spot for me on this game. Can't play everyone on a large slate, and I think this next game, though, is a doozy here. Obviously, Great American Small Park, one of the best hitting, if not the best hitting environments on the entire slate. Great hitters park. You got Tommy Henry on the mound, Ben Lively, two pitchers that I don't think are any good. These D-backs are definitely a talking point of the slate. I think they're going to be a top 3-owned stack on the entire board here. But, I mean, you got Corbin Carroll in there. These D-backs just came out of Atlanta, too, who got to the Atlanta pitching staff in a few of those games. I know they were on the winner, I think, last against Spencer Strider, even with his performance at their price points because they got some runs late in that game. Are you on the D-backs train here? And then any of these Reds against Tommy Henry at home, I'm seeing over a 5 implied run total for both sides of this game, obviously in the best hitting weather on the slate.
Yeah, this is a pristine matchup really for both sides, both sides. And Nate, this is going to be one of the stands that I'm going to take. I'm fading this game on my 3 teams. Doing 2 teams in the FanDuel queue and then 3 teams in the 4-4-4 tonight. And so I'll be fading this game, which is always risky, right? You got that small park, you got 2 subpar pitchers, and you got a red hot Diamondbacks offense that scored 16 runs 2 or 3 games ago. Corbin Carroll, great play though. I mean, all these lefties match up very well with Lively, but just with what I'm seeing and what the metrics I look at, I won't be playing either one of these teams, and I don't believe I'll have anybody. One off would only be Corbin Carroll who I'd play, but other than that, I'm going to fade this game due to ownership and other metrics that I look at, but it's a complete cross-off for me.
Yeah, that's a hot take for sure. I'm a little bit different. I do like this game. I actually think I prefer the red side a little bit more. I get it, they're at home, but they have stolen base, power upside here, a little lower owned in the same hitting conditions. I mean, looking at the last 30-day numbers here, I mean, Matt McClain, Spencer Steer all have ISOs over 400 against left-handed pitching, so I love those guys. Ellie De La Cruz, I don't love, but batting from the right side of the plate, obviously with Tommy Henry there, batting lefty. But if you look at this lineup, they loaded their lineup with 7 righties. Cincinnati did. A lot of these guys will run overall. Jonathan India, Spencer Steer, Matt McClain are my 3 favorite, I think. Joey Votto, in his limited sample, has hit left-handed pitching pretty solid as well this year. So I do like the Reds. Will Benson down there has been hitting home runs at 2,800. Obviously, now it's lefty-lefty. Don't love that a ton, but I don't think Tommy Henry is going to be in this game very long overall. On the D-back side, yeah, I think the D-backs are good plays, but just be careful how you play them, especially if you're going Shohei or Framber up at the top and then dropping down to Clark Schmidt and playing the D-backs. Well, you just built the cash team and you just built the same tournament lineup everyone else did. So like Title talks about, I would definitely make a rule. If you're playing the D-backs, definitely do not run like a Framber, Clark Schmidt, or like a Framber or Otani Clark Schmidt combo with them, just because it's going to be tough. You're going to have 1v1s, 2v2s off of a lot of the other tournament lineups if that does get there at the end. So don't love that from a GPP standpoint. But yeah, I mean, hard to ignore this game. I think both sides are stack viable. Is probably the most popular game on the slate, but for a good reason. I don't think either of these pitchers is very good personally. Next game on the slate, Hamwich, it's the freaking LA Dodgers heading into Texas to face Andrew Heaney. It's Friday night. It's the Dodgers, a nice little bit that we always drop out here. And I think right around this time last year, our guy Hoop shipped a couple 6 figures with the Dodgers and a negative score from his pitcher. These Dodgers, I mean, Mookie Betts, Freeman, Will Smith, Martinez, Chris Taylor's in there against a lefty. Do you have interest in these Dodgers, whose implied run total is actually under 5, which is kind of interesting. But Andrew Heaney's been pretty solid at home, 25% K rate, but does get barreled at a decent clip. Do you have any interest in these guys? And then talk on any of these Rangers at home against a right-handed pitcher, which we always talk about.
Oh, baby, Nades, this one's getting my juices flowing. I'm gonna fade that Cincinnati game and give me a real offense. Give me a good offense. That starts for the Texas Rangers. I love this Rangers team tonight. It's my number 1 stack on the day. Corey Seager, Jonah, he is him. Leody Taveras, our good friend of the show, Travis Janikowski. Love these lefties. Love Adolis Garcia. This Rangers team will be on the winner tonight. It's in my team. I built my 121 DK team, five-man stacked with those Rangers. I'm not typically a big DK guy, but I did tonight because I saw some free money over there. So I love these Rangers. And then on the flip side, love these righties, JD Martinez, Mookie Betts. Who else is in there? Will Smith. I don't think you can go wrong. Chris Taylor, I really like against Andrew Heaney. Looks very well against him, smashes his pitches. So this game, my hot take of the day, Nate, would be that this game doubles the score of that game in the Great America Small Park.
Yeah, no, that's a great take. And looking at last 30-day numbers, Gonsolin here, obviously it's limited sample, but allowing a 308 ISO to left-handed hitters, striking out just 20% of those hitters, 16% of batters overall. I mean, allowing over a 200 ISO to both sides of the plate, 379 WOBA. More of a ground ball pitcher, but man, it's a righty in Texas against these Rangers. I think 1 through 9, these Rangers are in play for me. Prefer the lefties like you, especially Leody Taveras down there, 3,100 in the 9-hole. I love him. My guy Zeke Duran. It's not a Friday show. It's not a Texas slate without me talking and bringing up Zeke Daddy. The dude just continues to get it done. Hits for power, has speed. Adolis Garcia, I mean, Corey Seager, probably one of the best plays in the entire slate. So love the Rangers. On the Dodgers side, I mean, you can't go wrong. That top 5 is firmly in play here. Chris Taylor does have a little bit of pinch hit upside risk, I think, once Andrew Heaney does come out. But third base, shortstop eligible, 3K. There's a pretty good chance that he might get to one of Heaney's balls and hit it over the fence there in Texas. So like both sides, prefer the Rangers in this one, but I think the Dodgers are going to go slightly overlooked here at their price point, especially with expensive pitching on this slate. And they have just as much upside, if any, as anyone on the entire slate. So I do like this game. And we have seen runs scored in Texas as well. So definitely like that game. Before we jump in, we got a couple games left. Hit that like button if you are just joining. Hit that subscribe button. Again, we are trying to get to, like I said, 120 likes. We'll give away the top 2 ranked pitchers, top 2 ranked hitters. Again, this is brought to you by SHIPITNation.com. $59 a month, $5.99 for the year, which brings your monthly rate down once you do the math to under $50 a month for all this incredible content. We just added MMA projections. We added PGA projections. Hoop and Tambo just got off the Mayo Media Network, breaking down round 3 showdown in the PGA streets with the last major of the season. We have all the other PGA tournaments coming up, the 3M, things like that, which Tambo will be in attendance for next week, covered for you guys. So absolutely incredible content coming, including NFL, which is right around the corner. So $59 a month, $5.99 for the year does get you locked in, including all of our proprietary projections, tools, and everything that we use to build all of our lineups, including core plays as well. So next game on the slate, we have those Braves, those Atlanta Braves that everyone loves to play. And now they're facing Freddie Peralta on the road, guaranteed 9th at bats. Do you have interest in these Braves who do have a pretty healthy implied run total? The lineup is just loaded 1 through 9. This is, I think, their best lineup that they can roll out as well. Do you have interest in these Braves? And then any of these Brewers for you against Michael Soroka?
Yeah, I think I'm going to side with my fellow Wisconsinites, Nades, and that's you and good old title. And I'm not going to play in these Braves. I mean, I mentioned it earlier, 46% striking out righties over his last 30 days. He gets to face 5 of them tonight, and I understand they don't have a very high strikeout rate, but I don't think I'm going to play him. I'm going to lay off these Braves, let other folks play him. The only one that I would have any interest in is going to be your boy, double dong yesterday, Matt Olson, who's just been on a tear. I feel like he hits a home run every other night, but Matt Olson, I would have a little bit of interest in. He would be the only one. Maybe Michael Harris at the bottom, but I definitely wouldn't play a 4-9. That's just not the way I play. I don't like that much of a gap if I was just going to do a mini. So no, definitely no righties. Matt Olson would be the only lefty. And then you mentioned it earlier, Soroka coming back from injury, and these Brewers, man, they just never win. I don't feel like when on a stack. So no interest in them. I mean, Yelich has a one-off maybe, but other than that, you got Rey Mysterio Jr. batting in the 7 hole. I can't do it.
Yeah, I have a decent amount of interest in these Braves, actually. I think the Braves are going to go under-owned here, and Fastball Freddie throws a fastball at 55% clip. Over the last 30 days, this Atlanta Braves team is hitting 359 ISO against the fastball. He comes throwing those fastballs in over the plate. I mean, Ozzie Albies, Acuna, Matt Olson. Matt Olson's got a 737 ISO over the last month against the fastball. I mean, if that doesn't just excite you, I don't know what does with these low-owned Braves. Sean Murphy, Ozuna, even Michael Harris down there in the 9 hole, 316 ISO, just a 9% K rate. This team's striking out at just a 19% rate against the fastball. I get it. Freddie's strikeout rate has been up there, but low-owned Braves, I think, are definitely interesting here to me. I mean, looking at these numbers, 228 team ISO on the road this season, just a 20% K rate. Fastball Freddie, if he starts losing his command and he's got to come back with that fastball, these guys are going to be sitting on it, and there's a good chance that ball leaves the yard in Great American Family Field there, which is pretty beneficial, especially the left-handed hitter. So love Matt Olson, love Rosario, love Michael Harris. Obviously, Albies there as well. Acuna, one of the best plays on the slate. I get it. He is 6,600, is expensive, but low-owned Braves, sign me up. I like them quite a bit. The Brewers for me would just be more mini stacks. Yelich, Adames, the 2 best hitters in the lineup. Joey Weimer down there in the 9 hole always has power. I don't mind that as a little 9-1-3 stack, something like that for the Brewers, but not a ton of interest, but I do like these Braves quite a bit. I think they can get the Freddie here overall.
Nades, who you got, Braves or Rangers?
That's a good question here. I would side slightly with the Rangers, but man, that's like a 1A, 1B type approach for me. I like both teams quite a bit. I just think Gonsolin's a little bit worse of a pitcher than Peralta, especially with how Peralta's been pitching right now. So give me the Rangers over the Braves, but I like them both a lot.
I was going to try to take some money from you, so I like the Rangers too over the Braves.
Yeah, no friendly fire here, Hamish. Nice try, buddy. Well, maybe we can both ship together with both of them if you can fit a lineup. Hey, maybe you double pay down at Clark Schmidt and like a Lance Lynn and stack both of them up as a different roster construction. Leave those expensive guys out. That's another way to go. And maybe the bats continue to win with the slates like they have been as of late. Like I said, I mean, Spencer Strider, that performance, he wasn't even on the winner, if I'm not mistaken, with his salary because the bats did get there. So that's one thing to take a look at as well, roster construction, right? There's a lot of good guys on this slate. Next game on the slate, I don't have too much interest in this one. I saw some remnants in chat talking about some of these Twins bats who have been pretty pesky as of late, but now they face Lance Lynn. I do think Lance Lynn has a lot of strikeout upside here, but we've seen this go around with Lance Lynn before. He's either going to go out there and throw 8 or 9 strikeouts, or he's going to go out there and get pulled in the second inning because he gave up 6 runs. So definitely think the Twins are a little bit interesting here. They do hit for quite a bit of power against right-handed pitching at home. Any interest in some of these Twins bats if you're not playing Lance Lynn, and then any of these White Sox against Joe Ryan, which I think are a pretty easy cross-off.
Yeah, the White Sox are an easy cross-off for me, and I was waiting to get to this game because I see some of the folks in chat, and I think I kind of agree with them. These Twins, man, you got to like these Twins, lefties especially. No Correa, no Buxton, who's batting in the sixth hole today for me, but these lefties look good and profile well versus Lance Lynn. If you look at Lance Lynn's splits, he's striking out, call it 40% of righties and only 21% of lefties. And looking at our metrics, we really like some of these left-handed hitters, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Matt Wallner, Max Kepler, Alex Kirilloff, Ed Julian, however you say his name. I like those 4 right there. I did build my DK team and had 2 of those top 5 guys in my team. So I got a little mini twin stack. And then also, if you look at that weather, great hitting weather, great home run weather in Minnesota today. So that's one more reason to like these Twins, and one more reason for me, Nades, not to like Joe Ryan, especially at that price and when you got 2 guys that close. So give me some of these Twins in a mini, and no White Sox for me.
Yeah, that's a good point that you bring out. I'm just looking at last 30-day numbers for Lance Lynn, his splits. He is not good at all against lefties, and I think that's the lineup that you see that the Twins did roll out, right? What do they have? 6 out of their 9 hitters are lefties. Obviously, Willie Castro in there, a switch hitter. Willie Castro, for all you BVP truthers out there, is 3 for 10 against Lance Lynn with 2 bombs. So if you want a little bomb, cheap BVP Dawn call there, Willie Castro at 2,400, lefty again. But looking at these numbers, I think these Twins are in play, actually, personally. Might take a second look at Lance Lynn, especially because Lance Lynn is going to be pretty chalky on the slate at his price point. But Minnesota loaded their lineup with lefties, and over the last 30 days, 250 ISO against left-handed hitters, just a 40% ground ball rate. I think some of these Twins could get the job done. Julian is absolutely locked in at the plate right now. 3,100 at the second base position is way too cheap. Max Kepler, Alex Kirilloff continues to smash the ball. Willie Castro, like I said, Joey Gallo always hits for power. He's kind of home run or bust, but yeah, Twins are interesting for me. None of these White Sox against Joe Ryan. I like Joe Ryan a decent amount on this slate. So I need to take a second look at Lance Lynn because looking at the numbers and this lineup that the Twins rolled out, the Twins are definitely interesting with all these lefties in here. Next game on the slate, we have the Pirates heading into Angel Stadium. And, man, it's hot and humid out in L.A., 90 degrees in L.A., wind blowing out straight to center field. But it's the Pirates facing Mr. Showtime. I think it's a pretty easy cross-off spot for these Pirates. But these Angels, I think, are interesting against Oviedo. We have played this guy quite a bit this season, but now he gets these Angels. I don't like stacking the Angels too much when you can't play Ohtani. That's a whole story for another time where DraftKings can't figure that one out. But any of these Angels for you, and then any of these Pirates in this one.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier where Showtime is striking out 36% of right-handed hitters over his last 30 days. gets to face 5 of those tonight. And literally, Nate said it earlier, nailed it, 3 guys we've never even heard of. So I really like that. Their best hitter, in my opinion, one of their 2 best hitters, Jack Sawinski, batting leadoff, is a lefty, which does scare me a little bit. But Nate said it earlier, too. He's striking out over 40% versus right-handed hitters or right-handed pitchers on the road. So, man, I think you have to love Ohtani tonight. And looking at the blister or the fingernail, whatever you want to call it, looks like that's not a concern tonight. So the only concern that I could see is the weather that you just alluded to, Nades. But I really like Ohtani tonight. He's on my DK team, and I'll certainly have some of him in on FanDuel as well. And then, like you said, these Angels, I mean, not being able to play Ohtani, who would be 30% owned tonight. No one's going to play these Angels, but Mickey Moniak, Mike Moustakas, and Matt Dice. They're, what is that, 3, 5, and 6. I think you got to have a little bit of love for them from the left-handed side of the plate. And if you wanted to stack them up, throw Taylor Ward in there, no one's going to have those folks. But definitely no Pirates for me. And then maybe a mini of those 3 I just mentioned for the Angels.
Yeah, for the Angels, it'd be the lefties. Oviedo, reverse splits guy here, has been getting shelled by left-handed hitters, which obviously he's got to face the best hitter in all of baseball, I think, in Mr. Ohtani. Obviously, you don't get the hitter points, which is a shame tonight, because I do think Ohtani does hit one deep against Oviedo. I mean, the dude's allowing over a 300 ISO to left-handed pitching, striking out under 15% of lefties. And these Angels have loaded their lineup with left-handed. So I do think these Angels, I mean, Trey Cabbage is going to bring you the cabbage in your pocket tonight, I think, at 2,200. I don't hate that if you need a cheap salary guy, but again, it is first base. First base is a loaded position with guys like Matt Olson, the Texas hitters. I mean, the first base is always loaded. But if you need a salary saver, I don't hate that. A lefty there, Moustakas, Matt Dice. Overall, I mean, Mickey Moniak, you nailed it. I think these Angels are a lower-owned stack, and people aren't really going there. And typically, it's not this hot over in L.A., but we're in the heart of July, and 90-plus degrees with wind blowing out in Angel Stadium, I think, is definitely intriguing. 2 games left on the slate. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. About 180 people in here, 64 likes. Let's see if we can get to 120. Like I said, we'll give away our top 2 ranked pitchers over here using our ranking metric system, as well as our top 2 ranked hitters for you. 2 games left. One of those games is the Houston Astros facing JP Sears in Oakland Pitchers Park. On the other end, Framber Valdez, one of the best plays on the slate from a pitcher standpoint. I think ownership is also going to show that. Any of these athletics for you against the chalkiest pitcher on the slate, in my opinion, and then any of these Astros who do have a 5 total, despite being in Oakland against JP Sears. But again, worst bullpen in baseball behind Sears.
Yeah, this game's a cross-off for me in an 11 game. I hate playing the Astros, especially without Yordong and Kyle Tucker. You can always play him, but they just, I think they scored 3 runs last night. And then I'm not playing anybody against Framber Valdez. You said it earlier, Brent Rooker would be the only one-off, but no interest for me. I mean, once again, guys that no one's ever heard of, and then Diaz batting in the 6th hole projected, so no A's for me.
Yeah, A's are cross-off for me. Astros, I'm not going to play the Astros. I don't really play the Astros too much, especially on an 11-game slate in a pitcher's park. Not a ton of interest. I hope people do play them with their inflated run total. They don't strike out a ton, but they don't hit for a lot of power, and it's not the greatest hitting weather and environment on the slate, so a pretty easy stay-away spot for me. Last game of the night, we got your boy Kikuchi facing Bryce Miller, who you have a decent amount of interest in out in Seattle. Low total, pitcher's ballpark. We like Bryce Miller a decent amount. You mentioned Kikuchi. He's either going to have a good game or get absolutely shelled. Any interest in these Mariners who do have some power against lefties, and then any of these Blue Jays for you against Bryce Miller?
No, complete cross-off for me. I could understand if you wanted to place the Mariners. I'm going to side with the strikeouts over the expected ISO and the pop that they have. And then Bryce Miller, love Bryce Miller, 33% of right-handed hitters he's striking out, gets to face 6 of them. And the lefties for the Blue Jays, I'm not scared of either. You've picked on them all week. I'm going to hop on board now and hope it's not too late. But this game's a cross-off for me, give me Kikuchi as a top 5 pitcher on the slate tonight.
Wow, bold take. I like it. I think this is like a 3-1 style ball game here in Seattle. Both pitchers I think are fine. Bryce Miller definitely my preference. So no bats for me in this one. If you needed to, maybe Tom Murphy. The dude hits lefties pretty well. Cheap, 2,400 at the catcher position. He should be in the lineup. I think he just hit a bomb last night or the day before. I saw the alert come through. 433 expected ISO against lefties at home. Kikuchi can get barreled as well, so don't hate that call. And then Dylan Moore, another cheap punt guy that hits lefties pretty well. And then obviously always the trash can there. Tio Hernandez hits left-handed pitching pretty well too, but not a ton of interest overall for me. Likes didn't get there, a little bit hurtful. Obviously, it's a Friday. Nice weather outside, a lot of weekend plans, a lot of stuff going on, but we're here bringing you the winners each and every day outside of Saturday when my guy Hamwich drops his quick hit video. So we will not give the rankings out, but what we will give out, Hamwich, go ahead and give away your top 3 stacks, and then we'll jump into our home run call and our low-owned pitcher call of the night before we get out of here.
Good deal. Let's go to Arlington. Arlington, where my number 1 stack is going to be the Texas Rangers. I talked about them all day. Really love the Texas Rangers. I'm 5-manning them on DK, 4-manning them on FanDuel. So they'll be my number 1 stack. My number 2 stack is going to be in that same game. Give me those right-handed Los Angeles Dodgers with your boy Chris Taylor. And my 3rd stack of the day is going to be let's see who my 3rd stack is going to be. A little like the Angels. I'm gonna go back. I said earlier I didn't have interest in it. I think I'm going to change my mind. You changed my mind, Nate. I think I like these righties for the Reds. So I'm going to have the Reds as my 3rd stack with these righties and a little bit of Will Benson, a little bit of Joey Votto from the left-hand side. I will leave out Ellie De La Cruz. I don't like him batting from the right-handed side, but give me that Reds as my 3rd stack.
Yeah, great call. I'm going to go the Braves number 1 at their ownership. They check out great in our stack rankings over here. I'm going to go the Reds number 2. I will go Texas number 3. And then my low-owned one is those Twins lefties. I talked about those Twins lefties. So a little low-owned 4th stack would be those Twins lefties. They're cheap. They do have some power. Lance Lynn's going to get a decent amount of ownership on this slate. While I do think he does have some K upside, I won't be surprised for the Twins to hit some bombs off of him. So like those guys, it's time. It's time for our pitcher take. Hamwich, you've had some different pitcher takes on tonight's slate. Where are you going for your low-owned pitchers?
Low-owned pitcher. I think he's going to be super low-owned, and I've talked about him a ton. Bryce Miller for the Mariners, facing 6 righties, 33%. I think he gets kind of lost in the shuffle, right? You got Clark Schmidt down there. You got the big boys up top. So give me Bryce Miller as my low-owned pitcher of the day.
Yeah, great call. I'm going to go all the way up to the top. The lowest owned guy up at the top end, I'm not going to give you Framber. I'm not going to give you Showtime. I like both of those guys. But I'm going to give you a guy that's going to go sub 25%, which is a little bit of a discount up at the top. It's going to be Joe Ryan against these White Sox. Talked about some of these Twins bats. I think he can be in line for the win. I think he bounces back here in a plus matchup, 20 to 25% ownership. I think I like him quite a bit here, and he checks out great in our pitcher rankings over here at ShipItNation.com. Let's do it. Let's run it back. We're on a little hot streak here for Friday home run calls. Where are you going, Hamwich? Give the people your home run call for this Friday.
This is almost too easy, Nades, and it's almost a cheat code. I could probably say him every time I'm on a show, but my boy batting in the 2-hole from the left-handed side of the plate might send one down to San Antonio, Mr. Corey Seager.
I like it. I'm going with another expensive lefty, and it's my guy, which I called last night. You looked at the game logs, right? Everyone wanted to play these Braves. People didn't click the name, Matt Olson. I'm going back to the well here. Matt Olson's going to take Freddie deep tonight in Milwaukee. I talked about it. I mean, the dude's hitting over 700 for a 700-plus ISO the last 30 days against right-handed pitching. Give me that fastball, Freddie, to throw a meatball in there, and Matt Olson to take it deep over the fence. That's going to do it for the show. We appreciate everyone a ton. Again, these shows are brought to you by our friends over at Drafters. Over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, next week, jump in the Drafter Street. Use the code SHIPIT. Get you a 100% deposit bonus up to $100 free. courtesy of them, courtesy of our partnership. Watch Big Marley and Titletown's drafter videos, best ball rankings that we do have up here on the site as well. And definitely check that out a ton. NFL is right around the corner, and see if you can win 300 stacks in your pocket and take down the reigning champion Titletown over there on Drafters Best Ball. Very, very good product by them. But that's going to do it for us. We appreciate everyone watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on the way out. Head over to ShipItNation.com. Catch all of our premium content, our core plays, our rankings, our projections, everything needed to have success with DFS, like we say as our slogan over here. But like I said, that's going to do it for this Friday. For Hamwich, I'm Nades. We'll catch you guys next time. Let's ship it.